I'm like, what do you mean I got to go back? You're not finished. You haven't finished. Now here's the kicker. I'm still laying up here in this bed, but I'm not in that body. I'm hovering. My sister's there reading and praying, and she's scared to death. My doctors are coming in, they scared to death. Because you know what all it takes is just a little piece of a blood clot to move and go to your heart, and that's it. You're out. So everybody's all every day. And this particular morning, they come in, all the doctors come in and they're doing their rounds. You know how they do their rounds and stuff. There was this doctor, which I thought was a doctor, beautiful man, tall, long blonde hair, keen features, beige suit. He didn't even come in the room. He just stood at the door. He said, take her to ultrasound, have him go in through the back, pull the fluid off her lung. She has a pulmonary embolus infarct. Have him pull that fluid off the lung. They did it. And when the needle itself is that big and then the syringe was that big, right? When they did it and they pulled that fluid, I dropped back into my body.
So all this time you're like looking down at your body.
I'm not there. I'm not in that body.
Uh-huh.
I'm not. I'm just I'm hovering because there was so much pain. There was so much pain. They changed me to another drug called Dilaudid. They had to do a annual class trying to get up there to see what was happening, and I couldn't lay down, but I had to be flat. So they shot me full of this Dilaudid, which just deadened everything, right? And so yeah, I couldn't stay in this. It was so much pain. It was like my consciousness was like, no, we're not dealing. We're not going to hang out down there. That's a little rough, right? And I'm really thinking that I'm going to get the go ahead to get out of there, right? I'm really thinking
Like to get out of here.
somebody's going to figure this out and let me out, right? But no. So after a few days, they let me go home. And I told my sister, I want to go back and thank that doctor. I said, that was the worst thing that I've ever experienced. I said, I couldn't even stay in my own body. And she said, I know. She said, I know you weren't there. She said, I was talking to you and you wouldn't even respond. I said, because I wasn't there. She said, I know. And so she and I went back up to the hospital to tell this doctor how amazing he is, right? So we get there and I didn't know his name, so I'm describing him. He was so unique, they had to know who he was, right? And these nurses looked at me and said, we don't know who you're talking about. We don't have no doctor that look like that works here. And then one said, well, maybe she's talking about the doctor that left and went to the East Coast. He kind of looked like that. She said, no, because he wasn't even here when she was here. I said, so you remember me being here? They said, yeah, we remember you. And you telling me there was no doctor like that? She said, yeah, there was no doctor that looked like what you just. I said, this doctor saved my. She said, there is no doctor here that looks like what you're describing. I was like, okay, here we go again. Me and my sister, because my sister saw him too.
Uh-huh.
She saw him.
And obviously the doctors that followed the instructions.
Huh?
The doctors that followed the instructions to take.
That's where they, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And we're both leaving there baffled, right? So anyway, life goes on. I met this man afterwards. Oh no, after that, I was very swollen, and I had to go back in for another surgery because I had this I had in my womb, I had a fibroid the size of a 4-month-old baby. And I couldn't lose the weight that I had gained from all of I had candidias all through my body. I was a mess, right? So I went in, I had the surgery, they took that, I still couldn't lose weight. So I said, okay, after I had that surgery, I was so weak and I couldn't hardly breathe. Anyway, so I said, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to start working out, but I couldn't walk but 5 minutes on the treadmill. Well, not even 5 minutes. I would walk a minute, rest, walk a minute, and I kept timing and kept pushing myself until I got to 5 minutes. Kept going until I could walk steady for 20 minutes. And then a friend said, you know what? I go to this gym. Come go to this gym. There's a guy there. They are so cool, blah, blah, blah. So I went with her. And I'm there stretching, because I'm going to get on the treadmill and do my little thing. And the guy comes out and she introduced me. And he says, come into my office. I want to talk with you. So I go in and he said, I've been waiting for you. They told me you were coming. I'm like, what? Okay, here we go again.
The
He
movie.
starts,
Like it's
wait a minute. He starts to talk to me, and the room, it's like we go into this fog. We're no longer there. And he's telling me he was a walk-in too, but he didn't call it that. He told me what happened to him and how they took him in this Merkabah. And when he came back, he knew this is what he was supposed to do. He said, and they told me you were coming, and I was supposed to help you.
whoa.
Okay. So we became like that. He was like my spiritual mentor.
Uh-huh.
And I remember he's the one that taught me about, or that helped me remember Atlantis, Lemuria, all this stuff. We would just have sessions and he was just feeding me all this. And he said, you just don't know who you are yet. I said, well, just tell me. He said, no. He said, if I tell you now, you'll hurt somebody because you haven't mastered the flesh and you get angry and you would beat and hurt somebody. You've been turning him into a rabbit or something. He would make jokes like that, right? And I'm like, what is this dude talking about? But I remember, and we did some great things. We did some great things together. And that's during the time when I found out about it was during that time that, I remember I decided for my 50th birthday, I'm going to do a bodybuilding show. And he said, not a problem. We could do that. Right. So in 9 months, I went from 265 pounds to 176 pure muscle. I was like 7% body fat. And I did a bodybuilding show. Right.
Wow.
And we used to do circles on Sundays where people would come and we would just teach. And then New Year's Eve, in my house, I was having uh ceremonies with my sister would come down and he would come. And the funny thing, when we're in these circles, it'd be about 40, 50 people, he would go into this language. And it wasn't like with the churches do tongue, it was this other language. But I understood, I could interpret what he was, and I didn't know how I understood.
Harry
But he was
Potter, here we go.
speaking, and I could, right? It was the weirdest thing. And I remember the first time I said, how come I know what you're saying, but you're not speaking? He said, I told you you don't know who you are. I said, I understand everything you're saying, but you're not speaking English. And he said, I told you. So, but he also told me, he said, he had a son from his previous life. He said, part of me being able to come back, I am never to marry and I'm never to bring another child. He said, and I know how I'm going to transition out of here. I said, what do you mean? He said, when I leave, I will leave meditating. I will be meditating and I will just leave. There was this girl, she's from India, and she was bent and determined on having him. And what happened, we all dispersed. It was like everybody went in different directions, right? I came to the East Coast. My sister was in California. I had a nephew that was everybody dispersed. So he ended up getting this girl pregnant and he married her. The baby died. The baby, when she was trying to deliver the baby, I think her water broke, but it ingested its own fecal matter, and it died. So nothing happened. She got pregnant again. 2 days, 3 days before she was supposed to deliver, he transitioned. And he transitioned meditating. He knew if he didn't leave, the baby would leave. They both could not be. And he knew for when she lost that first baby, she carried that dead baby picture around every year he couldn't go through that again. So he transitioned out in order for that child to stay. The baby was born 3 days after his death. Yeah, yeah. This is the kind of stuff I'm okay. But my first, and I told you I do plant medicine, right? My first ayahuasca journey, he came, he said, "Don't worry, I'm here with you." And I knew it was him. I knew he didn't even have to say his name. I knew his energy signal. And he walked me through that because I was like, shit, what am I gotten myself into? He said, "Don't worry." And it showed me, that journey showed me where everything came from. And I was in sacred geometry. He said, "This is what you are. This is where you came from." Right? And I'm seeing this sacred geometry. It's everywhere. My eyes are closed. So my conscious mind is like, open your eyes and then it won't be there. I opened my eyes, it was everywhere. I'm in this. I've become this, right? But he was there with me. It was just amazing. Amazing. So yeah.
So, okay, so your first NED, that's when you switch souls, you become a walking, and then you have two other NEDs, and then at this point, it's just the same soul coming back to finish your mission.
Same soul. Again, but it was choice.
But you
Each
said the
time it
last
was
time
each time
you were like, I
each
want to
time it was
stay,
choice. Yeah.
and they're like, you
I
can't.
didn't want to stay. I didn't want to stay the last time.
Uh-huh.
And that's when I got the message, you don't have to come here to get what we have for you.
Yes, I love,
You understand?
yes, I understand. That's
Yeah.
the new energy. Like, that's what we're being told. You no longer have to go through the near-death experience in order to get this awareness and
You
remember
don't
who you
have to.
are.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Yeah.
And so the last one, really, I still made the choice to stay. It still was a choice. Because I don't think I would have stayed just because he came. Oh, and let me tell you who he was. I got to tell you who he was. So they told me they didn't know who he was. One night I'm at my sister's house visiting late. I'm up late because I'm a late, I don't go to sleep early. And this program come on called Eckankar. And they're talking about this world right. I'm like, I ain't never heard nothing like that. What in the hell is that, right? So I'm going to look it up on the computer. Google knows everything. I call Google God. It knows everything. Okay. So I go to Google and I look it up, go to their website, and I'm looking and reading. And it says living masters, because the way the religion works, there's one living master that is ahead of the religion until he dies, and then another one replaces it. So I go to the page of the living masters. There the doctor is. His name was Gopal Das. He lived 3,000 years ago, and he taught in the pyramids. Okay? Hence my connection to Egypt. Okay? So I'm like, this is not real. I show it to my sister. I said, look who I found. She said, oh my God, that's him. That's not good enough. That's not enough. Because one thing people must understand, when spirit shows you something, it will always witness. It will always qualify it for you. You'll get another, um, you'll get, it'll prove itself. You understand what I'm saying? It always qualifies what it tells you. It doesn't what you see. So we both saw, we know that's it, right? About 10, maybe 15 years later, my brother's dying. I'm in Portland visiting some friends. And this one guy, the girl, this is her new boyfriend. And he says, I met him and everything. He says, "Oh my God," he said, "I want you to meet my mom. You have to meet my mom. You have to meet my mom. You'll understand, right?" And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So next time I'm in Portland, I meet his mom. And then my brother is dying. He's in the hospital and they're calling me. And I'm trying to, I don't know why they're calling me, like I can save him, whatever. But anyway, I'm telling them, and I'm talking to him because he hasn't went out yet. I'm talking to him. I'm telling him, you know, well, how you feel, what's going on. And he's making promises to me because I had been trying to help him to do better with himself, but he was, anyway, so I meet the guy's mom. Anyway, she calls me. She says, "I have a message for you." She said, "Is your brother in the hospital?" I said, "Yeah, I have a brother that's in the hospital." She said, "This entity named Gopal Das gave me a message for you. He will transition, but he's okay. It's time." And I'm like, "Gopal Das? How the fuck?" I said, "Do you know who Gopal?" She said, "Yes, he's one of your guides." I'm freaking out. By the time I get to the train station, because I taken the train. By the time I get to the train station in Portland, they're calling me. "Oh my God, he's dying. He's dying." I said, "Calm down, calm down." Every time they bring him back, his heart stopped again. I said, "Listen, you need to calm down and tell him to stop. Stop doing this to him. He's made a choice. He's transitioning. Stop it." And they let him go. But I had already been told that he was going. So I knew, don't do any heroics. They'll put him on life support. He's not coming back. Don't do that. Let him go. And they were screaming and hollering. I said, "Just calm down, please. Just let him go." And they did. And after that, several more messages. I mean, I kept them all. She would type them out and send them to me. She said, "Because I want you to have them." Between him and then another another guy showed up, Ramesses. She said his name was Ramesses II, the pharaoh in Egypt. I said, "Now this is making sense because my first trip to Egypt, I encountered this entity. I encountered him in his fury in the temple of Luxor. We were in there doing ceremony, and I was with a Maori elder. I was the logistic person. The Maori elder put the circle together. He said, "Once I put the circle together and we start the ceremony, do not break the circle." He starts the ceremony, and there were two young girls that were with us that evidently had wandered off, and they saw we had started the circle. They ran in and they broke the circle. When they broke the circle, this energy came in and they both just fell out. One was foaming at the mouth, and I was like, "Oh!" I told him, I said, "Get them out, get everybody out of here, get it." And I don't even know how I knew to do this, but I just knew. I just jumped into action, said, "Get everybody out of here, get everybody out of here, get them out of here." So they picked up the girls and they got them out. They went back to the ship, and I said, "Leave two men here. I need two guys with me." I went back into the temple. I said, "Show me the prayer room. Show me the highest, the most holiest place in this temple." They took me there. I went there and I spoke. I said, "Spare their lives. I know that we didn't ask permission. Please forgive us for not asking permission to be in your temple. I'm sorry. Please spare their lives." Because I knew they weren't going to come back. One of them came back immediately. By the time I got back to the boat, she was back. The other one, it took her a whole day before she became normal again. Okay. And I knew it was Ramesses because he had showed himself to me in the pyramid when we were in the Queen's chamber, and I almost slipped and fell down the shaft, and someone grabbed me. And when I stood up, I could see the energy in that room. It was emerald green. When we went to go in that temple to do that ceremony, there's two statues of him that sit at the opening of that temple, and he has a ring, and that ring lit up to let me know he was there. So I knew going in that energy was there, but I didn't expect what happened because I always ask permission when I go in to a temple now, but I don't think the Maori elder knew I can set this circle where you'll be protected, but don't break the protection. And they did. So he shows up and starts sending messages along with Gopal. And so I'm like, asked them, why are they talking to you and not talking directly to me? Because I'm like, I'm right here. Why are you talking to me? She says, because you guys made a pact that they would not interfere or talk directly to you. And that's why they're using me and they use other people to speak them. I was like, wow. And the
When
stuff
did this
they were
happen?
telling me was right on. The stuff they would be telling me, it would be right on. It would be
When did
right
this
on.
happen?
This was happening up until I started doing plant medicine. This was happening up until I started doing plant medicine.
What brought you to
Huh?
try plant? What brought you to want to try the plant medicine?
Well, the first time I did it when Willie showed up, it was I had another reader, that another woman that was reading. She said, I did ayahuasca, and blah blah blah. I said, oh, I think I want to try the way she described it. I think I want to try that. So I went and did it with an Ecuadorian shaman in the state of Washington. But I had started going to Egypt, right? And I went back. Spirit called me back to Egypt in 2017. I was in this church called Center for Spiritual Living, which is by Ernest Holm. It came out of his teaching. And they were doing a trip to Egypt and Bali. I wanted to go to Bali because I had been trying to get to Bali. And Spirit said, no, you're going to Egypt. And I was like, no, I've already been there. He said, no, it's time for you to go back. And so I'm sitting in my little red chair, because I have this red chair that I used to meditate and Spirit would speak to me in. I said, okay, let me look at my bank account. Look at my bank account. I said, I can pull together the down payment, because this is how I talk to Spirit. I can pull together the down payment and I'll pay it this Sunday. But the rest is on you, because it ain't there. Okay? So I
I
go to
love
church.
the relationship you have.
So I go to church that Sunday, and I go up because I know everybody was paying their first. They had already paid their down payment. This was when they were paying the first payment. So I said, I want to go. I only have the down payment. How long do I have before I need to get the next payment? She said, I'll give you till the end of the month. I pay that register and I turn, and when I turn, someone touched me on the shoulder. Don't worry about it. We got you. We'll pay the rest. Okay.
And does it get any better than that?
That's what I said. This is how my life is, girl. This is how my life happens. I was like, okay. So I go that on the 2017. I go, and of course, there's like 76 people on this trip. We go to the Sphinx, and we have access to inside the pyramid. We get to go down through the paws of the Sphinx and everything. So everybody's, scrambling down to get to the paws, and there's like a fence. And I stand because I'm like, I want to look at it face to face. I'm just out. I stand on this wall and I'm looking at the Sphinx, and all of a sudden there's this beam of light from the Sphinx to I can't move. Just pictures, just information, just like this, but it's really fast. And I'm standing up there like, and tears are rolling down my because I can't move. I can't move. Okay. And then it released me and it says, don't face me. When you face me, you activate me. If you want to touch me, go to the side. Right? And I'm just crying because I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Right? So I go to the bus and I'm crying. I call my sister and I told her what happened. She said, from this point on, cover your head. And do you have any white with you? I said, yeah. She said, cover your head and wear as much white as you can so that energy can pass through you because you're going to experience a lot of energy. And that's what I did. And I remember when I got back from that trip, there were other things that happened because now there's 76 people and I'm in this vacuum all by myself with what's happening to me. Um, so I okay, when I get back, Spirit says to me, you're going to go back to Egypt for 5 years. Get up, because I had bought some books, and I'm going to show you where I want you to go. And when I got up and got the book, it showed me every place that I was to go from Cairo all the way down to Abu Simbel. The next year, in 2018, I started that odyssey. But it told me, let's see, I went 2018, 2019, 2020 was the pandemic. I couldn't go. 2021, they started opening up, and Spirit said to me, I want you to go and do plant medicine to prepare for the journey in Egypt. When I started, got ready and got all the stuff that I'm supposed to do the plant medicine, he said, no, I don't want you to eat any more meat. Okay? So I said, okay, I could do that. But I'm gonna have these chicken wings before because I had all this meat in my house. So I fixed the chicken wings in my most favorite way, because this is my last time, right?
Last meal.
I bit into the chicken wing. It tastes like wood. I threw them away. I'm like, okay, I see you. I had some smoked salmon in there. I was like, okay, it's all. I only have a little bit. I'm gonna finish that because I paid $25 for that. So I'm gonna finish that. So I ate it. The next day, I was sick as a dog. Okay. I said, I got you. I'm done. I haven't meat has not passed my mouth since. Okay.
Oh my God.
But that 2021 was the year I went and I got answers. In 2018, when I went, there was a woman I met. I had never met her before. A friend of hers and mine brought me to her house. And she had all these crystals. It was beautiful. And she said, they were asking one of their other group members, did you go to Egypt? Or she said, oh, no, no. She said, I didn't go to Egypt. She said, I went to India. And then I said, well, I'm going to Egypt in November. And the woman looked at me and she said, I'm supposed to go with you. I said, okay. She said, I've been told to go and many opportunities have come up. She said, but they weren't right. She said, but I'm supposed to go with you. I said, okay. I gave her the information. I go home that week. She sent my whole thing, just paid. Okay. And then she said, I have a book I need to send you. I was told to send to you. See, these people be sending me this information. So she tells me about this book. It was called The Fifth World. Have you read it?
No?
It's it's called The Fifth World. I can't think of the author, but it'll come to me. And in the book, it talks about the Palladiums,
Uh,
okay? And they stand 10 to 15 feet tall. When I went to Egypt in 96 and went into the temple of Karnak, they have an area called the Hall of Records, and these big, huge pillars, just layers and layers. And I remember when I walked in and I touched one, and a voice said to me, "We were not of your size. We stood 10 to 15 feet tall." In the fifth world, it told me who those people were. Okay?
Oh, the synchronicities,
I'm telling you.
everything. Oh my
And
gosh.
what's interesting, the timing is never my time, it's always universal time because there is no time. When I'm ready for it, it gives it to me. When I went in 2021, I had a girl that was going with me. She kept calling me. She said, "I keep having these dreams about you." She said, "This journey is about you, not the people that are going with you. It's about you." She said, "I keep seeing you in this temple." I said, "Is it a temple we've been in before?" She said, "No, I've never seen this temple before, but I see you in this temple, and you've been in this temple before, and you're doing ceremony in this temple." And I'm like, "No, okay." We get there, we get to the temple of Karnak, and our guide says, "I want to take you somewhere." He takes us off the beaten path of the tourists, right? Way out. And the two things happen there. Way out, and here's this temple. And when I go to walk in the temple, I see these gold flakes coming down, and I jump back, and people are, "What's wrong?" I said, "Y'all don't see that?" And I walk into this temple, and he's taking the group this way, and I walk this way because I know it. It's like I know where I am. And I'm walking, and they going, and they went and did a ceremony here, and I'm walking out. I'm like, "Oh, I know this," right? And so then he took them somewhere else, but I keep walking, and I end up right where they are. I don't even know how, but I knew the temple. And so he's taking them into this side room, and I go in this, and I can't go in the room. I said, "I can't go in there." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I can't go in there." And so I said, "You take him in and do the ceremony." And I'm standing outside, and one of the temple guards came. He says, uh, "I am from the lineage of the priests that worked in this temple. Come with me." And then he took me to another room, and he held my hand. He had his hands on my head, and he's looking at me. He says, "I know who you are. You are one of us." And tears just flow. And he was telling me a whole bunch of stuff I don't remember, right? And so after that, I'm like, "Okay, what the?" I walk out, and when I walk out to the front of the temple, I find the beginning of the avenue of the Sphinx that I had been looking for since I went back. In 2017, when we went there, I saw that there were roads over the I said, "When did they put these roads here? I walked this the last time I was here." And the man said, "No, you didn't. This has been like this for years and years." I said, "No, I walked from Karnak to Luxor on this road." "No, you didn't." I saw myself walking it. And every time I went to Karnak, I'm looking for where the road began. I couldn't find it. 2021, there's the beginning of the road at the temple of Kanush, the god of the moon that made the tattoo I have on my shoulder, the Eye of Horus. I got that message when I went in 2000, in 1996, the experience I had at Dendera, where they make the goddess. I had this vision of being in the pool, and I took them. I found the pool and everything. I'm in this pool. I'm walking up the stairs. The high priestess is there. She touches me on my shoulder. She said, "You're one of us. You have the mark." And it was the Eye of Horus. When I came back, I put the tattoo there. Okay? So I'm telling you, I've had some really strange happen to me. I had some really stuff with Egypt. And listen, this is what's funny. at the 5 year mark, after I'd been there for 5 years, it's like everything fall apart. I couldn't go last year. I couldn't go this year. Do you understand? Last year was the 5th year, and I haven't been given the message to go back. It sent me to India last year, and now I'm going to India, and there's work there that's happening.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, I can't wait to hear what's happening, what goes on when you go
Oh,
to India. That's amazing.
India was, yeah. But all of it, everything that I'm giving, it prepares me as my frequency changes.
Hmm.
I remember when my frequency changed, I was phasing in and out of time. It's just weird shit was happening to me. I mean, my eyes are open and I'm seeing the screen and shit's playing out on the screen. I'm like, what is going on? Why? Why is this happening? Right?
Hmm.
And so um, they sent me back. They sent me to Colombia this time. The Taita, which is the head of all the shamans that I know, he teaches them. He called me, told me, come to Colombia. I have something I have to do for you. This is before I go to India,
Huh?
okay? And before my last time going to Egypt. And what had happened was my frequency had changed. And I didn't know, I didn't understand what was happening. So I go there and I'm thinking I'm going to do medicine. And so we have a small 15-minute session. I said to him, "Why did you want me to come here?" He said, I have to do something for you so that you can do what you're doing better." And I didn't understand, right? So the first night we do medicine. The second night we do medicine. And the time before that, I had been to Costa Rica and the mother had given me a dragon, the energy of a dragon. And and I remember when I got the energy, the dragon was flying out of the Maloka, and I'm looking through the eyes of the dragon as it flies over. I didn't even think anymore about that. But the second night I'm there in Colombia, the mother says, "Now I'm going to show you the power of the dragon," right? I'm like, okay, whatever. The next day, I wake up and I'm feeling not well. Okay. I don't have a fever. I don't have any aches in my body or anything, but it's like my body I have a lot of mucus just coming through.
Mhm.
And so it got so bad I laid down and the Tita didn't come to my room. He sent somebody with a flask of tea and said, "Drink this," right? So that night, I mean, I drank the whole thing, and that night, I mean, mucus is running out of me like water. It's just running out of me like water. And I'm still not feeling good. So they had medicine that night. And, I went to the clinic. They did tests to see if I had COVID and all that stuff. None of that was happening. But I'm just not, I can't go up and do medicine. So the next day, the Tita comes to my room. And that day I'd asked him, could you ask him, could I have another flask of that tea? Because I felt better. And I wanted to do the last night of medicine. And so he came to my room and he talked to me, he said, "How you feeling?" I said, "Well, I feel a lot better and I wanted to be able to go to do medicine." He says, no, he says, "I'm going to send a bath for you that I want you to do. And if you feel okay after you do the bath, then you can come up, right?" So it was actually a big picture of whatever this bath was. I had to pour it all over me, right? And by the time, before I could even get out of the shower, somebody's at the door. And it was his assistant. She says, "Tyler wants you to come upstairs. Don't go up to the med. He wants you to come upstairs." So everybody's gone up there to do medicine. And he's upstairs waiting for me. He says, Sit down, I need to do something here. So he gets this, we call them stinger nettles, but they call them something else, these branches. And, I'm almost naked. And he's doing whatever prayer he's doing all over me. And then he says, now I want you to stand in the middle of the room. And so he's not speaking because he speaks Spanish and they're speaking to me. So I stand in the middle room and then they light this circle of fire around me, right? And he walks all around and he's doing whatever he's doing. I don't know what he's saying, what he's doing, right? And then when it goes out, he says, now I want you to go back to your room and integrate with what's happening. And listen, that night in that room, I went somewhere. I don't know where I was, but the message that I had that came out of that was to see everything through the eyes of love. It said, no matter how people present to you, they are love. See that. See only love. No matter how they act, what they say, see only love. And I remember about 5 o'clock that morning, I got up and I was I wasn't grounded. I got up and I walked outside barefoot and just stood in the grass trying to ground. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, and I got up the next morning. I'm feeling great. I go up to have breakfast. He calls me again, takes me back in and does it again. I was like, wow. Everything I was even. Whatever it was like he took my physical to meet that spiritual transition. When I went to India that February, the moment I stepped on that ground, it was like I was in this bubble of love, this energy of unconditional love. I'd never felt it before. Never. I couldn't breathe beneath the top of my chest. The energy was so powerful. Everywhere I went, people were lining up to take pictures. Here, take a picture with my baby. It was a weird, I experienced that in Egypt before, the first time I went to Egypt. Same thing in India. Okay. So, yeah.
Wow, that's so powerful. There was something I was going to say. Oh, I know. When you said see everything through the eyes of love,
Yeah.
I was like, that's just bringing it all full circle right there. Just bringing it
Mm-hmm.
all right back
Mm-hmm.
to what it all
Yeah.
means. The Beatles
Yeah.
had it right. Like that's really all you need is doing and acting and saying everything from a
Yeah.
place of love.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Esther, I can talk to you all day. This has
I
been
know, but we both.
amazing. Your story, I mean, it's just so
Yeah.
captivating, and
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for you to come and share
I'm so
this.
grateful for you allowing me.
Oh my gosh, you're just
It's it's
incredible.
it's such a beautiful world, such a beautiful experience that we are afforded here in this dimension. And if I can help just one person wake up and realize who and what they are and to experience what we are meant to experience here, I can sleep at night and feel better about myself. Okay? So, yeah. But yeah,
Esther,
thank you
tell
so
us,
much.
where can people find you? Where can people reach you?
Well, my website, I have a website, and on my website is also the next journey that I'm taking, and it's www.estherjones, that's all one word, dash alley, alley.com. I'm also on Facebook under Esther Alley, Instagram, Esther Jones Alley, LinkedIn, Esther Jones Alley. So I'm on all the social medias, and there's no one out there that looks like me. So you'll see if you get Esther, it's me. Okay. So, yeah,
Awesome. And I'm going to put all of those links in the description under this video so that
Okay,
if you don't have anything to write it with, you can just go and look at the information there.
good.
Amazing. This has been so lovely. Thank you so much for coming. Is there
Thank you.
anything you want to leave the audience with? Anything else you want to share? You share
You
so
know,
much.
the greatest thing for me is love one another because you are me and I am you. What I do to you, I do to myself. And that's everyone. We are all one. So if people can just wake up that much to understand that we are all connected, and what I do to you, I do to everyone in this collective. Love one another as you love yourself, but first love yourself.
Amazing. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Esther. It's been
Thank you.
lovely.
Thank you.
Sending so much love to you. And I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What an amazing interview. I'm just so head over heels over the energy here. If you really enjoyed the content of this podcast, I'm asking you to please subscribe, hit the like, put a message there, send us a message or a comment, and share this podcast so that other people may get the information that is being shared here. With that, I'll let you go and I will see you next time. Bye bye.